What's up, people? I'm Aaron Pryor. This is Big 12 Big Football presented by Dr. Pepper. And like the statue of Big Tex at the State Fair of Texas, OU Texas looms large this weekend as we hit the midway point of the college football season. Everybody knows the drill this weekend. The State Fair of Texas, Corny Dogs and the Midway, and a sea of crimson and burnt orange coming together at the 50-yard line of the Cotton Bowl. Oklahoma enters as number 5 in the coaches' poll. This will be the Sooners' first matchup against a ranked opponent this season. Oklahoma ran through non-conference play and are 2-0 in league play with wins over Texas Tech and Kansas. OU is first in the country in total offense, though they haven't really faced a defense ranked higher than 90th. And that won't change this weekend either, as Texas is giving up 442 yards a game and is outside the top 100. Now, I know people are riled up about the Jalen Hurts Iron Bowl headline. I'm not defending him or jumping on him here. Simply put, Hurts has played in some big rivalry games before, and he's played in 3 national championships. The guy's just well-versed in staying focused in the biggest games. Also, no quarterback in college football has as many starts against top opponents than Hurts. He's been the most efficient quarterback in the country to this point and leads an offense that is yet to be slowed down. You could argue, though, that Texas might be a little more battle-tested coming into this game. The Longhorns have already faced one team that's currently ranked in the top 5, and they just went up to Morgantown in an incredibly hostile environment and came out with a win after finishing the game strong. Despite the injuries that have piled up for the Horns a bit, it appears that Texas will be getting several key pieces back this weekend, but I can't exactly tell you who because, well, we definitely shot this before Saturday morning, but I've got faith in you that you can figure it out. Favorite stat from this week that popped up, Texas is 3rd in the country in third down offense, Oklahoma 5th in the NCAA in third down defense. At the end of the day, more times than not, this game is a shootout. There's only been a couple of games over the last 10 years where these two teams haven't combined for basically 1,000,000 points. OU and Texas are both in the top 11, but regardless, this game is unpredictable every single year.
I've been associated with a bunch of really, really neat rivalries, but this one is special. It's the coolest game in college football because of where it's played, when it's played during the state fair, how the stands are set up, all of that. And then you couple that with 2 teams that are playing a very high level of football, it leads to some fierce competition. But I think it's always best when both teams are playing at a very high level.
That's just what it should be. That's been the greatest rivalry in college football for a long time before I was born, and that's going to continue to go on, and that's what you want. I mean, you want great teams, you want edge. It makes for great football, and we've certainly had some great battles with them, and I would expect we're getting ready to have more, and that's what you love about it. I mean, you want rivalries that have that passion behind them and have kind of that fire behind them, and this one certainly does.
You know it's going to be a good one. Morning kickoff from the Cotton Bowl. The game is over on Fox. It's a light weekend in the Big 12 this week. We do have 2 big matchups in the afternoon. First, we'll start in Waco, where 2 teams coming off wins get together. Texas Tech will meet Baylor at McLean Stadium for the first time ever. This game returns to campus for the first time since 2009. Baylor is 5-0 after a dominant performance against Kansas State last weekend. Quarterback Charlie Brewer left early in the 4th quarter after a big hit, but has been cleared to play this weekend. The junior QB threw for 230 yards and a score before leaving the game against a Wildcat defense that's been difficult to score on thus far. Maybe even a bigger surprise, the team that finished 91st last year in total defense is now top 15 in the country. Yeah, that's Baylor. The Bears are giving up 15 some odd points a game right now, and an enormous part has been the play of the defensive line. James Lynch and Bravion Roy had monster games last week. Lynch had 3 sacks and 4 tackles for loss, while Roy from the interior position had 3.5 TFLs and a sack. And how about this note from the Baylor media relations staff? James Lynch and Bravion Roy became the first teammates in Baylor's Big 12 history to each record 3.5 tackles for loss or more in a Big 12 game. Also of note, Baylor's 15 total TFLs in the game are the most by a team in the league since 2000. Matt Rule over the summer on the importance of his defensive line.
Well, I think we have a lot of guys that are tough, physical, rugged players. Some of them are newbies, they haven't played a ton. But I just love our size and strength. James Lynch is an all-conference caliber player. He can play at a bunch of different positions. Bravion Roy is a guy that should be an all-conference player. James Lockhart has played a lot of football for us. So I love their mentality, their toughness, and that's the group to me that for us to get where we want to get has to really step up and become a dominant unit for us this year.
Think he knows what he's talking about? Baylor plays a Texas Tech team that just picked up a top 25 win over Oklahoma State. And hello, Jordan Brooks. If you've watched Big 12 Big Football this season, you know I've talked about Brooks a couple of times. He's an elite linebacker and showed again why on Saturday with his 19 tackles, 3 sacks, and 4.5 tackles for loss. Another key piece of the Tech defense, the FBS leader in interceptions, Douglas Coleman. Coleman added 2 more picks to his count against Oklahoma State on Saturday. He's up to 5 through 5 games. That's right, he averages an interception per game. And to make things even crazier, all 5 have come in the Red Raiders' last 3 games. I think that's why Jordan Brooks said Coleman would be a breakout star on defense this season.
You guys probably won't know right now, but I think he's out to have a really good senior year. He's putting in tons of work this offseason and this summer. And the way he practices harder than anybody I've played with. And I just think you got to see the results from that one day.
So if I hadn't seen him play, how would you describe him as a football player?
As a football player, very, very technically sound, very, got a high motor when he plays, and pretty good DB too, so just stay tuned.
You can see those 2 strong defenses get together 3 p.m. on Fox Sports 1. Now 1 game to go here. Iowa State's going to head to Morgantown to take on a West Virginia team that played Texas tough last weekend. Unfortunately for WVU, there were a couple of key injuries that came out of that game. Wide receivers Sean Ryan and Sam James both sustained injuries. Ryan is out indefinitely, and Sam James was questionable for the weekend. He's been in concussion protocol this week. This will give redshirt freshman Bryce Wheaton a chance to step in for the Mountaineers. Wheaton already made his presence felt last weekend, catching a fourth-quarter touchdown late in the game against Texas. We know West Virginia is a team with a lot of young and talented players, just not with a ton of experience. But opportunities like this are important for any young team. For Iowa State, the Cyclones had an all-around impressive game against TCU, putting up 436 yards and were +2 in the turnover category. Brock Purdy was 19 of 24 for 247 yards and 2 touchdowns, both thrown to tight ends, a position that Matt Campbell is thrilled to be able to work into the Iowa State offense this year.
A guy like Chase Allen and Charlie Kolar and Dylan Sainer, where all of a sudden, 3 years ago we didn't have a scholarship tight end in our program, to today having 3 really talented ones and some depth and some growth that actually exists. So 2 areas we're really excited about.
West Virginia and Iowa State getting together 3 p.m. Central Time on ESPN. Now, it is time for top plays, and guys, I've heard you, I've read your comments, so this week I picked the top plays. If you don't agree with them, let me know. That's totally fine, and better yet, tweet at me. If you see something that you liked from this weekend, let me know. I'll include it in the show. This is a democracy after all. Let's check out last week's top plays.
Tipped and intercepted at the 30-yard line. Picked off by Grayland Arnold. And he could go. The foot race for Arnold inside the 10 and the pick 6. Off the tip of Clay Johnston, 70 yards on the return.
After the punt of 39, Duggan takes over deep in his own territory. Backside pressure. Down he goes inside the 5. There goes the football. Touchdown, Iowa State. Uwazurike scooped it up for the quick 6.
Ehlinger rolling to his right with Johnson. The big throws it back to the big fella. Down the sideline. Samuel Cosme, the left tackle. Why wouldn't he? Kendall refuses to hand off. He'll throw for it down the sideline. It is caught. Sam James, touchdown, West Virginia. It's 44 for the score.
Great effort on the end of this play. Skips his ball, touches the ground, he gets his hands under it.
Wow, that is
that's
close,
a good catch.
Man.
That was their best play in the first half.
Off the play fake. Kendall takes a shot, got a man open, it is caught momentarily and intercepted. Sam James and Deshaun Jamison on a 50-50 ball, and I think Jamison won that battle.
The outside looked like the quarterback's hand may have gotten hit because that ball fluttered out, and Jamison able to make the unbelievable interception.
Jamison over James.
Whichever game you're watching this weekend, enjoy it, and we'll see you next week for another episode of Big 12 Big Football.